Call the meeting to order. This meeting of the Essex County Board of Trustees Freeholders is hereby called to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Freeholder Bauer.
Here.
Freeholder Johnson.
Here.
Freeholder Jones. Yes. Freeholder Luciano.
Here.
Freeholder Mercado. Absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Here.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Here.
Freeholder Sebo.
Here.
Freeholder President Gill.
Here. Please stand for our salute. Ask for Freeholder Maris to lead us in our salute. Freeholder Maris.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And ask you please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have before me certification from the clerk that this meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. At this point, I'd like to, first of all, thank the Township of Bloomfield for hosting us this evening. Before I turn over the microphone to our hometown freeholder, so to speak, I did want to give special recognition. I have two members of the council who are with us tonight. Councilman Rockwell, I think I saw earlier, who's with us. Thank you for being with us, Councilman. Councilman Nick Chiuano, who was here earlier. And I see our business administrator and long-term friend, or township administrator, excuse me, Matt Watkins in the back. Matt, thank you for being here. At this point, I'm going to ask that our District 5 freeholder, Carlos Pomares, who represents the great township of Bloomfield on the Freeholder Board, who represented so ably the township of Bloomfield on the local city council, to offer greetings on behalf of the board. And freeholder, please feel free to introduce anyone that I may have missed, including your lovely family, who I see in the audience, which most importantly, might want to do them first.
Thank you.
Freeholder Pomares.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, thank you and all of you, and welcome to beautiful Bloomfield. This is a wonderful place to come and live. There's a lot of activity going on here. As my esteemed colleague so wonderfully noted, first things first, I'm going to acknowledge my lovely wife, Natasha, who's in the audience. She is accompanied by my oldest son, Carlos Jr., my chief of staff, Felicita Rosario, and my little gearhead, Mario Pomares. So I'd like to just stand up there and say hi and welcome everyone to Bloomfield. And of course, thank you, Mr. President, for acknowledging my colleagues who served with and around Bloomfield and continue for years. Most notably, Mr. Rockwell, who's here. Mr. Rockwell replaced me in the council, and I say he's doing probably a better job than I did at the time. And we're very excited, and I would like to invite you all to come to Bloomfield to shop, to take a look, to enjoy our parks. And in one thing in particular I would like to call your attention to is the Morris Canal Greenway, which is a statewide effort currently being undertaken by over 100 organizations. But here the municipality of Bloomfield, along with the Morris Canal Greenway Committee, has been very strong in developing one new park, which was a remnant of the Morris Canal, another second park coming in the next 2 to 3 years, the restoration of the Collins House, which is related, dating back to the 1790s and near the incline plane, I believe number 11, here in Bloomfield. And also we have introduced, and we're about to launch, and I will invite you all in a day coming in May to be determined, for the unveiling of 30 new Wayfinder signs throughout the entire township of Bloomfield. These signs are married to a mobile app that you can download right now. So if you go to your app store, you can download Morris Canal Greenway in Bloomfield, and that app will help you navigate the 5-mile tract that the Morris Canal once took through our township, and noting historical sites based on those signs, environmental sites, other wonderful treasures in town, connecting our municipal and county parks, Board of Ed fields, and historic district. And you could also track your steps and figure out how much you've burned, how many calories you've burned, so that when you go out and have that juicy burger at one of our restaurants, you can figure out how many steps you need to take to burn it off afterwards. So we want to encourage you to come and explore Bloomfield. It's a great place to work and play. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Freeholder Pomaris, again, and best to you and your family. You've clearly hit the ground running as a new member of the board, and know that both the residents of Bloomfield and the 5th District are in good hands, with you as their advocate. All the best. Madam Clerk, are there any transcripts to be approved?
Mr. President, there are none.
Madam Clerk, are there any topics of discussion?
Mr. President, there are none.
Okay, let's move to public comment session on agenda items. Tonight's meeting is a combined conference board meeting, and we will vote on every item on the agenda. So if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any agenda item, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Okay. We're sharing. We're going to start a doo-wop group after this. The clerk and I are sharing a microphone. Exactly. We're putting shared services to work right now. Do we have any member of the public who would wish to speak on any agenda item? This is on agenda items. This is agenda items, excuse me. We're still on agenda items. Seeing none, if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Freeholder Board.
Good evening.
My name is Greg Good, resident of the city of Newark. I represent a small, growing group of athletes in Newark. We're trying to expand non-traditional sports, lacrosse being our primary target. We have had phenomenal difficulty in securing field space, and the only field in town, in Newark, is River Ironbound Field B. The number of soccer programs that are down there always box us out because it's a small group. And so what we're asking is, in order to support the growth of lacrosse, certainly in the East Ward, where they have a lacrosse team at their high school. Additionally, we're requesting that the county take a very hard look at expanding lacrosse fields in the south and the central wards of Newark as well, specifically at Leeway Park. One point that is a report, as I speak to you today, is the #1 draft pick this year from the National Lacrosse League is Trevor Baptiste. Trevor Baptiste is from Newark. Trevor Baptiste learned how to play lacrosse because his parents took him to Morristown League School. That is a great thing. Again, an opportunity. How many more Trevor Baptistes are there in Newark and Irvington, Orange, East Arkansas? So currently the county maintains 2 lacrosse fields in Bloomfield at Watsesson Park and Montclair and Anderson Park. And so my questions to the board are, what are the metrics used by the county to determine which parks get specific accoutrements or accommodations? Secondarily, we've applied the park permitting process to the county to use riverfront and riverbank parks. We have been denied those permits for whatever reason, because they're not necessarily designed for lacrosse. However, the wear and tear on the field would have been no different than the soccer they allowed to play with the cleats and things like that. And so we feel like the denial is rather arbitrary, perhaps. With your help and support, One, we'd like to avoid that hurdle with applications to park throughout the county to play lacrosse.
30 seconds.
Yes, to encourage people to lacrosse. And lastly, the development of field space at Newquay Park, Riverfront Park, and East Ward, and West Side Park. Thank you.
Thank you. As the board's policy will be sure to follow up in writing, I can assure that we'll make sure that we take a deeper look into both the application process and the circumstances surrounding that you've outlined. Is there any other member of the public who would like to comment on any issue? You can please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record, and again, you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Board members, thank you for letting me speak to you tonight. So my only claim to fame is that I'm married to my name is Carlos Monteagudo. I am a resident of Bloomfield for the last 5 years. My only claim to fame is that I'm married to Louis Bowling, who's the pastor of Bloomfield Presbyterian Church on the Green. And I'm also a public psychiatrist and also a social entrepreneur. I'm here to tell you about SoulSmart. For those of you who don't know about it, it's a federally funded program. It's trying to become what LEED is to buildings, what SoulSmart will be to municipalities. They service small towns, townships, cities, and you can, any municipality, any township, any city can be designated at a bronze, silver, or gold level. And basically, there are federal funds that are available, technical assistance that's available for any municipality anywhere wants to be designated. They will work with the powers that be to help them earn the points that ultimately earn them the national recognition. Wonderful program. There's a lot of opportunities for any municipality in Essex County to become involved. It's really a way of getting recognition for sustainability, for care for the planet. I think it's a wonderful PR opportunity. I would urge every one of you to look into the SoulSmart program, and I'd love to help you all get involved and get the resources that are out there. If you want some information, I have some to give out. It's up to you.
Thank you. We'll make sure that the information is provided to the full board, and if there's any follow-up, we'll follow up. Thank you. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Freeholders. My name is Frederica Bay, and I'm the chair of Hearing of Citizens Coalition of New Jersey for a moratorium on foreclosure. This is an open letter to all elected officials, and in particular to our Article 1-2 of the New Jersey Constitution says, whereas all political power is inherent in the people, government is instituted for the protection, security, and benefit of the people, and they have the right at all times to alter or reform the same whenever the public good may require it. We, the people, are demanding an Essex County moratorium on foreclosures bill. The public good requires it. On behalf of the Hearing of Citizens Coalition of New Jersey, we really want to thank Freeholder Vice President Wayne Richardson and Freeholder Levy Jones for sponsoring the 2018 Board of Chosen Freeholders moratorium on foreclosures bill. We thank Freeholder President, now Assemblywoman Brittany Timberlake, and the freeholders for the Essex County Banking Community Reinvestment Review Program. In the past 10 years, with New Jersey being #1 in the entire nation in foreclosures, who benefits? Somebody is benefiting. What we did is we thank you so much, Ms. Ford, for all of the information that you gave us in the past 3 years, from the review committee. We really appreciated it, and it is a ton. Could elected officials for the 10 years, 2008 to 2018, possibly have benefited from the massive foreclosures in New Jersey? We just saying. Governor Corzine was governor from 2006 to 2010. Governor Christie from 2010 to 2018, and of course now, Governor Murphy. This fraud is playing out within plain sight
30 seconds.
of all of our New Jersey elected officials. We know the government bailed out the banks, and the banks bailed on us, your constituents. So we are here to not only demand a moratorium, we're here to ask you what are the next steps, and when will it be up for a vote?
Thank you. So, first of all, thank you for all your efforts on this issue, for being here tonight. Our normal process, and we will do that, which will be to respond to all of your concerns tonight in writing back to you about next steps and process. In talking with Vice President Richardson, as well as his co-sponsor, Freeholder Jones. I think that we plan to do, at least I'm going to take a little bit of personal privilege here, Vice President Richardson, and just say, one, I think we want to potentially create a committee of the board that will analyze this resolution and this legislation. We hope to do that quickly, so we can all do our due diligence. I think I can speak for the majority of the board that everyone, I think, is more than sympathetic and wants to see something done on this particular issue. And I think we're going to try to do it through the committee process first. And I'm also, I don't know, Vice President Richardson, if you wanted to add anything more on the record at this time, but I know I'm prepared to do that, for your request.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Through you, Ms. Bay, always good to see you. And as the President said, we are working diligently on this legislation. We're working with the board attorney and Ms. Khalifa Shabazz Charles on this legislation, who's doing most of the research. So through the committee and through the proper channels, the process that we have in place, we will be moving forward.
We thank you, and we thank you, President Gill, and certainly Vice President Richardson, and certainly Freeholder Jones. We just would like to know if there's just a sense, because this is an emergent issue, and it has been very full case. And I think everybody knows someone who's been put out of their homes. And we're talking about children and families. We're talking about children, college students, being displaced, babies, for greed and fraud. And the governor has said it. So I want to thank Essex County Executive Joe Dean, before I take my seat, for his proclamation that I think you all have. Certainly Mayor Raz Baraka, certainly you all. We want to thank you for the resolution that you gave. But now we need some action, because every 2 weeks we're having children and families put out, and the government has already said that these are Frankenstein toxic mortgages that were bailed out with our money, and then the banks fraudulently take our homes with impunity. So we really need your help, and we need it to be expedited and not slow paces if it's an everyday, ordinary occurrence, because it's not. And we thank you very much.
Again, thank you, and hear you loud and clear. And I would just add that my hope is that even with the formation by President Richardson of the committee, that we will move quickly and as fast as possible. So
Absolutely. We believe you and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you'll have 3 minutes to speak.
Hello. Good afternoon. Good evening. My name is Medina Mohammed. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Freeholder Board. Sorry.
This good?
Good evening, everyone. My name is
Good evening.
Medina Mohammed. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Freeholder Board. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank you, Freeholder President Gill, and the members of the board for your leadership and just for your guidance. This will be my last meeting as a part of the Freeholder Board staff, and I will be moving on to a new opportunity. But I just wanted to take a moment to thank each of you for your leadership. I actually started working with the Freeholders as an intern in college, and now I'm graduated with my master's, and I'm really appreciative of the things I've learned here, the experiences I've had, and I'm extremely grateful to each of you, and I'll miss you guys. So that was all. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, and I think one of the other things that Medina should be given another round of applause. Not only is she graduating with her master's, but she completed her master's with a 4.0 GPA, and I think that is. Mr. Parlavecchio and I both said we needed to go to 2 schools to get up to a 4.0. So you should be commended for that. Thank you for your service to the board, and also best of luck in your new position. I think, you know, if we can mention that publicly, that Medina's moving on for a great opportunity with our former board president, Brittany Timberlake, who is now an assemblywoman representing the 34th district, where she will serve as the assemblywoman's chief of staff. So she was interned in government, has completed her master's in political science with a 4.0, and now on to greener pastures. So don't forget about us down here at the county level. And Mayor Jackson, I already told Medina that I'm looking forward to all my constituent calls, since she will be working for our assemblywoman. So the mayor and I will be calling you quite a bit about our state level needs. But all the best. With that, is there any other member of the public who would like to comment on any issue at this time? Before we close the public comment on agenda items, I wanted to turn the meeting over at this point in time to our County Administrator, Robert Jackson, I know who would also put together some information that I think would be very relevant for the board and for the residents of Bloomfield.
Excuse me. Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, and I want to welcome everybody to, we're happy to be here in the Township of Bloomfield. During our leadership meeting, Mr. President, you and the Vice President asked us to pull together some information on what's been happening in Bloomfield in recent years in our parks and on our other parts of our infrastructure, so I just wanted to briefly go through that. Sure. In 2015, Wassesing Park, in 2015, we did playground improvements and lighting improvements. 2016, we did track resurfacing, sidewalk improvements, basketball court renovation. 2017, we did the splash park and the park perimeter fencing. That was in 2017. Brookdale Park in 2015, we did the playground improvements. This year, you see going on right now, the Welcome Center and the Tennis Center being improved. Those are under construction and will be available for this summer. And we have some upcoming, I should say too, that in 2018, Broad Street from the Passaic line all the way down to Bloomfield Avenue is going to be repaved. And we have some upcoming events at Watsesing Park, the annual summer concert. Brookdale Park will be on 4/27 will be the Special Olympics, 9:30 a.m. 6/16 and 6/17 will be the craft fair, 7/3 the fireworks show, and we'll have and also in Brookdale Park an annual summer concert series. So a lot of the things have gone on and will continue to go on in the township of Bloomfield and the parks, and just wanted to make the board and the public aware of some of those things that have been done in a great partnership between the administration and the board.
Thank you. Again, it's been a great partnership, and we look forward to a continued partnership between the township and the county. So that was a great update. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Again, if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any issue, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. Again, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that there's no one wishing to speak at this time. Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinances or resolutions for introduction and first reading?
Mr. President, we have none.
Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinance or resolution for listing purposes only?
Mr. President, we have none.
Madam Clerk, do we have any ordinance or resolution on second reading and public hearing tonight?
Yes, Mr. President, we have one, ordinance number O-2018-0007, bond ordinance reappropriating $75,000 proceeds of obligations and certain other funds not needed for the original purposes and to be used for the redevelopment of the Essex County College 2018 through 2023 facilities master plan.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. I hereby declare the public hearing on ordinance O-2018-0007 open. If there's any member of the public who would like to comment for or against this resolution, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Okay, seeing none, Mr. Parlavecchio, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions, Mr. President.
Mr. McInerney, do you have any questions or comments? No, Mr. President. Freeholders, do you have any questions or comments? Mr. Jackson, any additional questions or comments?
No, Mr. President.
Okay, freeholders, do I have a motion and a second to close the public hearing on ordinance O-2018-00007? Moved by Freeholder Johnson.
Second.
Second by Vice President Richardson. Do I have the same mover and second to approve the ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolutions. Resolution number 1. Can you please read the resolution?
Resolution 1. Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, contract award to Smith Sondy Asphalt Construction Company, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder for roadway construction of Scotland Road in Orange and South Orange, New Jersey, amount not to exceed $974,347.30.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson, can you please explain the resolution?
Certainly, Mr. President. As you may recall from our last meeting, there was a discussion about this item, particularly as regards to complete streets and some other issues that Freeholder Bauer raised. There was a meeting among all the parties to go through some of the issues, I think to the satisfaction of the freeholder, and then we were back up again for reconsideration. And Dennis Daly from our engineering department is here to answer any specific questions we have.
Thank you. Mr. Parlavecchio.
I don't have any questions. I'm just pending Mr. Sedale's comments.
Mr. Sedale.
Mr. Mr. President, I should add the vendor was here last time.
Yes.
Dennis Daly, Assistant County Engineer. As the administrator said, we had a work section at the Public Works Building. Freeholder Bauer attended, as well as Mr. Jackson and the engineering staff and the director, C.G. Borges, listened to the concerns the freeholder had at the meeting, and I believe he agreed to a striping plan that was proposed by the township to be implemented. He considered looking at some intersection improvements. I believe they were raised intersections.
Raised crosswalks or a raised intersection.
Yes, and I believe he satisfied all the concerns of the freeholder.
I think a fair statement is that we did have a robust debate at the meeting with respect to in-street traffic calming measures to slow the speed, and the county engineer was very accommodating, and he said that he would consider the items, specifically raised crosswalks or a raised intersection at the intersection leading closest to schools on either side, as well as there are 3 schools on Scotland Road, but this is really about crossing Scotland Road in South Orange. He would consider them, and that was based on a New Jersey DOT manual for school zone safety design that I handed out that has a number of traffic calming measures, but those 2 were the ones that I highlighted. And based on that representation, which I appreciate very much because I know it's a difficult thing, and he expressed some of the difficulties that he felt, I feel comfortable moving forward. He also punted to the village of South Orange with respect to coming back with a resolution to support one or both of those measures if the village desires to do that. We've already put that in the works, so we'll see whether that garners the votes for a resolution, and that is the basis on which we're moving forward. Do you agree with that, Administrator? All right. And Mr. Sedale, do you agree with that rendition?
Yes, I do.
All right. And I want to thank you especially. I know it was an interesting debate that we had, but I think it's a good thing to try to move forward with these traffic calming measures. So when we get around, if there's any other comments, I would like to move it, Mr. President, if that's possible.
Sure. Thank you, Freeholder. Mr. Parlavecchio.
Yeah, just a question to Dennis or to Mr. Jackson. Do these, any of the proposed measures that were discussed, are they new measures that will impact the cost of this contract, or require it to go out to bid, or anticipate any change orders as a result?
We're anticipating that there might be a change order for the crosswalk work, but we don't.
That's good. Thank you.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders, are there any other additional questions or comments?
Mr. President,
yes,
if you don't mind, we did raise that question, Mr. Parlavecchio, at the meeting, and it was described that this is a mill and pave contract. It's really for many county roads, but this is just the segment of Scotland Road in Orange and South Orange. Fortunately, even this 2-week delay didn't hold anything up because South Orange has a water main problem that it has to resolve. So that particular segment that I'm talking about was not going forward anyway until the water main is fixed. This allows Orange to get fixed and so on and so forth, and that's one reason I don't want to hold it up any further. But I did ask the county engineer about that, and it may be a change order, but it may be able to just be added, and I was assured that that doesn't create a problem with, you know, sort of differing conditions on the asphalt itself if for instance, a raised crosswalk is added. So I feel very comfortable with the time and attention that the county engineer will spend in this consideration. I don't know if it will really happen, but I hope so, and I really do appreciate the robust conversation that we had. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder Bauer. Are there any other additional questions or comments? Just to say again, I want to thank the Freeholder for taking the lead on this and in this particular issue, and to really, although I was not able to be at the meeting, it's great to have a colleague on the board, I think, who's advocating for something that we've been talking about for quite some time here. And to address your question, Mr. Parlavecchio, in my mind, you know, the reason that we passed that complete streets policy, it's not just to create a policy and put that policy on the shelf. You know, we as a county must move to implementation of this policy. And although, and the beauty of that policy, broadly speaking, is that this is not something that's supposed to cost more money. These are changes in traffic calming measures that promote safety, promote wellness, promote health, and drive economic development on our thoroughfares our main thoroughfares by slowing down traffic. And they're supposed to be done within the context of these contracts. And I'm not saying they're not, but we have to take that next step. So. You know, so I think the debate was very healthy in the discussion, and I want to again thank and acknowledge the department for willing to have that. But you know, I think our goal is in no way to slow down these projects, but our goal is to get us to a point where we are looking at these projects on the front end in the context of what we said we were going to do. So with that, Freeholder Bauer, I will. You want to move this resolution? Do I have a?
Yes,
Okay.
it's resolution number 1. I move it.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder McCardle, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo.
Yes.
Freeholder President Bill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 2, Madam Clerk.
Resolution 2, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering. Resolution of the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Essex for the support for preliminary preferred alternative for the replacement of the City of Newark Central Avenue Bridge over the city subway New Jersey Transit Light Rail.
Okay. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, we're looking at replacing the Central Avenue Bridge with the city subway, but I'll leave Mr. Sedeli to give you more detail.
Dennis Sedeli, Assistant County Engineer. The Central Avenue Bridge carries Central Avenue over the city subway and is between Duryea Street and J Street in the city of Newark. The existing structure was constructed in 1908. The city of Newark owns the bridge. The County of Essex owns Central Avenue, and Jersey Transit owns the light rail. Several alternatives were looked at by the city of Newark. They was settled on the preferred alternate, which is to replace the existing bridge generally as it is in place. It'll keep the same roadway width, 1 lane of traffic and a parking lane on each side and sidewalks on each side. Once the preferred alternate is approved by all the concerned parties, the local concept development phase of the project can move ahead, go to a federal highway. And the remaining 3 phases of the project, preliminary engineering, final design, and construction, can take place. And all of these phases will be covered by the federal government. And at this time, the estimated cost for the replacement of that bridge is about $23 million.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
Thank you, Mr. President. As I understand it, Mr. Sedeli, this is not a contract for $23 million. This is to support this method, and which will assist in qualifying for federal funding in the future?
Yes.
Okay. And this doesn't disturb the county's ownership of Central Avenue, and it keeps the bridge itself as the property of the city of Newark?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. McInerney.
Is all the funding federal in this case?
Yes, it is.
All of it?
Yes.
Okay.
Freeholders, any questions or comments? Freeholder Palmaris.
Good evening, Mr. Sedale. A couple of questions. So, on the history side, I know that when the Morris Canal became defunct in 1924 and the state of New Jersey took over the remnants of the canal, it sold property, offered it for some municipalities. In the case of Newark, it was purchased and used for ultimately the light rail. So I'm having a little bit of trouble pinpointing it exactly on Google Maps, but do you have any awareness of this bridge, which predates the decommissioning of the canal, is in fact something that went over a section of the canal? Would you know?
I do not know, but I don't think it predated, to the best of my knowledge.
Because I see that the bridge was constructed in 1906 or 1908. The Morris Canal was functioning until 1924. So if indeed a section of the canal went under, I would assume that this bridge obviously would be there. So I have no problem with the replacement of the bridge or any of that sorts. But if you recall, the county did an excellent job with the replacement of the Berkeley Avenue Bridge here in Bloomfield. And that it was similar vintage bridge that crossed over the Morris Canal. The Morris Canal doesn't exist there, but now the Greenway does go underneath there. And so my line of questioning is really in reference to that consideration to the next bridge, replicates as much as possible the aesthetics of the older bridge. And in the case of, we had a speaker during a 106 section of public comment suggest, and ultimately was implemented, signage that noted that. So I just want to call that to your attention, and would like to have the county do its due diligence to ensure that we're not violating any kind of, or miss, I wouldn't say violate, but miss an opportunity to recognize the significance of the Morris Canal, because as we speak, the 102-mile journey of the historic canal is not being converted into a greenway. So obviously this is important that we carry on the spirit of what was there.
And Mr. Daly, Assistant County Engineer, yes, Freeholder it is, and we will take those things in consideration.
Right. So may I offer to make life a little bit easier for you? And we have the esteemed Councilman Rich Rockwell here, who's quite a noted historian. And if you exchange numbers, I bet you he can save you a lot of time and research to kind of confirm that. And I'm putting Mr. Rockwell on the spot. But and my reason is that if we had not done our due diligence at the Berkeley Avenue Bridge, we would have lost the aesthetics. It would have been an ugly kind of bridge. As a result of taking a couple of extra moments, if you will, to study the bridge, we learned that the bridge could be, the new bridge could replace the old bridge, make it better, make it obviously safe for everyone, and we still were able to incorporate beautiful bridge railings that were the facade, the side of the bridge, which made it really attractive. And as a result, signage was implemented in that area around the Berkeley Avenue Bridge, and it's now part of a bigger picture in this Morris Canal Greenway. And that's really why I'm asking. So there's an opportunity there I would like for us to explore it, because it was a relatively easy lift to, at the very early stages, to incorporate those things from the very beginning and just have something that we could all live with a little bit later on and be proud of.
We would certainly do that.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tadeo. I appreciate it. I'm good, Mr. Brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholders, any additional questions or comments? Do we have a mover and a second?
I'll move it, Mr. President.
Moved by Freeholder Palmaris.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So
Okay, great. Clerk, let's move to resolution number 3.
Resolution number 3, Department of Public Works, Division of Roads and Bridges, contract award to National Water Main Cleaning Company to furnish drainage cleaning on Essex County roadways, exercising 2-year contract extension option, amount not to exceed $268,500.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President. This is a 2-year contract extension, open-ended as needed contract. The vendors from Kearney, and also as a WPE, And again, Mr. Zadell is here to answer any questions you may have.
Dennis Daly, Assistant County Engineer. This vendor will provide, clean our drainage structures, catch basins, and manholes. He'll also jet pipes, any clogged pipes we have, he'll take care of that. And if we need to, there's a provision in it for video inspection of pipes. And I believe last year on this contract, we expended about, and it was a representative.
Sure.
Because it's an extension, Mr. President, we have the understanding that the vendor was not required to be here for an extension.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. That's correct. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
I think this came up at the last Freeholder meeting where we had a large contract that in the previous contract had a very nominal amount of funds expended in the previous contract year. Is that the same type of situation here where we're looking at $268,000 contract? Is this over 2 years? Over 2 years, but last year's expenditures were only 53,000. How do you come up? So the 268 again would appear to be high in relation to the expenditures of the prior year.
Dennis Sedali, Assistant County Engineer. Through you, Mr. President, I believe the contract is high, as you say, because of the director's concern about the problems he had during some of the hurricanes and some of the storms previous winters, and wanted to make sure that he had a contract in place that he could use, and also a contract that would provide enough money.
Okay, satisfactory.
I can also just to embellish that a little bit too. I know the issue was raised at the last meeting, I should say, and we are taking a look at that more globally, Mr. President, based on the feedback that was given last week, to take a look at some of these and see where we can perhaps tighten our belt a little bit. And I know that's the global goal, so we're taking a look at that as we speak.
Thank you. Ms. McInerney, any further questions? Okay. Thank you. Freeholders, any questions or comments? Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Jackson. I think that would be helpful for sure, as we've discussed, just to the ranges on these contracts, and I'll turn it back over to Ms. McInerney in a second, are fairly wide and large, and anything more to help the board understand how we arrive at these numbers, I think would be extremely helpful. Mr. McInerney.
Mr. President, just for clarification, I agree with the administration that they should take a look at how they appropriate, how they come to the final numbers for a contract in relation to the previous year's contract expenditures. I just want to make the point that these amounts are not expended amounts. What they really just do is they encumber a line item in the budget so it can't be expended for any other purposes. If it's not expended, if the contract for $268,000 comes in at $106,000, then those funds are left over in appropriation reserves, which lapse into fund balance in the following year. So I just want to make that clarification, that this is not necessarily expenditures, it's just monies that don't have to be appropriated for at that larger amount.
Thank you. Freeholders, do we have any questions or comments? Do I have a mover and a second?
I'll move.
Moved by Freeholder Bauer.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer?
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson?
Yes.
Freeholder Jones?
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano?
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent Freeholder Pomares?
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson?
Yes.
Freeholder Sebo?
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill?
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 4.
Resolution 4, Department of Public Works, Division of Buildings and Grounds, contract award to Total Fire Safety, the sole responsive and responsible bidder to provide maintenance, testing, and inspection of fire protection systems and equipment amount not to exceed $172,900.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is the same vendor from our previous contract. And again, Mr. Sedale is here to answer your questions.
Mr. Daly.
Dennis Sedale, Assistant County Engineer. This vendor is going to provide maintenance, testing, and inspection of fire protection systems at about 21 of our county facilities. I have a representative of the firm here if you wish to speak.
Please. Mr. Healy, can you tell us a little bit about this contract?
Fire alarm system and suppression. Suppression does not apply to every building that refers to kitchen systems or special applications.
Thank you. And you currently have the contract. Freeholders, questions or comments? McInerney. Mr. Parlavecchio?
Questions?
Again, freeholders, one more time. Questions or comments? So I have a mover and a second. Moved by Freeholder Pomaris. Second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you. Moving to resolution number 5. Madam Clerk.
Resolution 5, Department of Public Works, Division of Engineering, Professional Services, agreement to provide traffic engineering, design, and construction inspection services, Master Consulting Group, PA, amount not to exceed $598, $600.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, again, Mr. Sedale is here to, on this one as well. We received 10 proposals from potentially 40 vendors, and Major Consulting was high score, and again, Mr. Sedale will give you more information.
Dennis Sedale, Assistant County Engineer. This consultant will provide engineering, design, and construction and inspection services for a number of contracts. Generally, the contracts are where the county capital dollars are expended for design, for construction, inspection, and the construction costs are federally funded dollars. They highlight some of the things the vendor is going to do for us. They're going to handle 12 traffic signal installations and upgrades along Bloomfield Avenue in Montclair. They're going to do some inspection services for us on Main Street, High Street, Scotland Road intersection of the city of Orange. And they're going to assist us in our 2018-2019 grant applications with the DOT for approximately 30 or 40 intersections. And I have a representative from the design.
Lynn Lemunion from Mazer Consulting. I'm a senior principal, and I'm the discipline leader for transportation and traffic engineering, and also I'm the project manager.
Good evening. Maurice Rashid, also from Mazer Consulting. I'm a senior principal, and I run the transportation division for the firm. Thank you.
You'd like to expand at all on the contract?
Basically, it's general traffic engineering specifically traffic signal design, which is one of our expertise that we have. We'll be doing the design of the project that was already federally funded, and we'll be providing survey design and inspection. And then as Mr. Staley mentioned previously, we'll be helping to get some funding for additional intersection improvement jobs.
Parlavecchio.
Just a comment that of the firms that submitted the proposals here, this did receive the highest score, but also came in at the lowest cost of all those responding.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders.
Freeholder President, just to put on the record, Mazer has done other work and projects with us. They've come out excellent. I've been there out in the field. And I just hope that you continue to do the great work you've done already. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, we're looking forward to it.
Freeholders. Concur with my colleague. Definitely looking forward to these projects and very aware of the quality of the work that you've done in the past. So we look forward to these projects as they're complete. Freeholders, do we have a mover and a second?
I'll move it.
Moved by Freeholder Siebold.
I'll second.
Second by Freeholder Luciano. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent Freeholder Flores.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 6.
Resolution number 6, Department of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Affairs. Contract award to GSP Properties, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder to provide masonry work May 7, 2018 through May 6, 2020, amount not to exceed $625,295.
Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, this is a contract to work on masonry projects throughout our park system, and Mr. Knight is here to give you more information.
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. As the administrator mentioned, this is for masonry work throughout the park system. Masonry work would include, but not be limited to, sidewalks, curbing, foundation, bench pads, bollards, Belgian blocks, and catch basins. And we do have a representative from the company here.
And Mr. President, I should add, this is also a WBE, woman-owned business.
Good evening, freeholders. Michelle Jensen, owner of GSP Properties. So, as already mentioned, this contract is for general masonry work as needed at various park facilities. It's a time and material contract over 24 months. Work is done only when authorized by the Department of Parks, and Josh read the scope already. So.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney.
I'll ask the same question. How much was expended on this contract in the previous term?
Joshua Zates, Essex County Parks. The previous 2-year contract, we spent approximately $400,000.
Freeholders. Vice President Richardson.
Yes, my question is, where's your company located?
Touch in New Jersey.
Do you employ any Essex County residents?
Yes, sir.
Approximately how many? A third of your workforce is from Essex County? Thank you very much.
Freeholders. Have a mover and a second. Moved by Freeholder Siebold, second by Vice President Richardson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado. Absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's move to resolution number 7 and number 8, which we can take together. Can you read both into the record?
Resolution 7, Office of the Prosecutor, a resolution approving participation with the State of New Jersey Federal Grant Program administered by the Office of the Attorney General, Department of Law and Public Safety. Resolution 8, the county budget agreement and insertion of items of revenue from the Office of Attorney General for the County Office of Victim Witnesses Advocacy, the Office of Prosecutor, $14,528.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President. Items 7 and 8 are related. Item 7 is a resolution that was passed to allow us to participate and administer this program. And this is a program run by the prosecutor's office that provides for advocacy for victims of domestic violence to encourage them to participate in the process. There was an original grant of $87,000 approximately, and what this grant will do, this additional grant will allow us to go for the months of May and June, and will allow us to get in conjunction with the state's calendar. So this we'll be able to now get this grant, get funded consistent with the state's fiscal year. As you may recall, we probably had a number of grants where we're doing this, where the state is moving us to its calendar. So it's $14,528, and item number 7 is the resolution to participate, and item 8 is the budget insertion.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
I don't have any questions.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders. This is an insertion, resolution authorizing and second resolution. We have a mover and a second to take resolutions number 7 and 8. Moved by Freeholder Johnson, second by Freeholder Pomaris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Gill.
Yes.
No.
That's the old days.
Old days. Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Come on.
I told you last week.
No, I'm here. Freeholder
I'll say yes to me.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 9.
Resolution 9. Resolution, Office of the County of Administration, Office of the Risk Manager, request approval of emergency declaration payment for third-party administrative service for adjusting the county's liability claims to a Servco insurance company, the amount of $31,666.67.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Walker is here to answer your question.
Mr. Walker.
Good evening. Wow, this is perfect size for me. Good evening, President, Freeholder. We came before you last fall under an emergency declaration where the county needed to secure the services for a third-party administrator, actually continue their services for the last 3 months of the year while we put up the procurement process to secure a new vendor. We had a not-to-exceed amount. The contract was awarded, services were provided, and at this point, we now have to pay them.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
No questions.
Mr. McInerney. No questions. Freeholders. Have a mover and a second. Moved by Freeholder Jones.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bauer. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 10.
Resolution 10, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, contract award to the 4 lowest responsive and responsible bidders per item on a unit cost basis to furnish and deliver over-the-counter pharmaceuticals, May 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2020, amount not to exceed $200,000.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, we have we're awarding contracts to 4 firms for various items, over-the-counter pharmaceuticals, 2-year contract from May 1st, 2018 to April 30th. All 4, as I said, are receiving part of this contract, and this is our last contract. We spent about $125,000 of this. This primarily goes, it's countywide, but it's primarily used by the jails and the juvenile detention centers.
Mr. Parlavecchio.
No comments.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders. Questions or comments? Seeing none, a mover and a second. Moved by Freeholder Palmaris.
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bauer. Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Palmaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado. Absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 11.
Resolution number 11, Department of Administration and Finance, Office of Purchasing, contract award to the 2 lowest responsible bidders for per item on unit cost basis to furnish and deliver zero graphic paper, May 1st, 2018 through April 30th, 2020, amount not to exceed $500,000.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, we'll be awarding, we'll hope to award 2 contracts, one to WB Mason, one to Paper Mart, to provide for paper. Good news is that by doing it this way, we're saving about $30,000 a year versus going through state contract. And our 2 representatives from our 2 vendors are here to answer any questions you might have. Cal and Mr. Levy, I believe.
Representative for WB Mason. Good evening.
Good evening.
Phil Natal with WB Mason. If you have any questions, please feel free.
Any additional, so you spend it all on the, what's already represented on the contract?
It's an actually not an extension, a new bid we did, but we had it for the past 2 years now.
Want to hear from the other vendor, please?
Good evening. I'm Howard Levy from Paper Mart Incorporated in East Hanover, New Jersey.
Would you like to add anything else or discuss?
We've been a supplier for the County of Essex, State of New Jersey, and many other locations in New Jersey for over 75 years. Paper Mart's a family-owned business founded by my grandfather in 1939, and we're proud to have the next generation, 4th generation, is two young people at Paper Mart representing the 4th generation.
Vecchio.
Really a question, I think, to Mr. Coltree, just out of curiosity. What makes you go off of state contract?
Normally, Julius Coltree, purchasing agent. Normally, when we go out to bid for products, usually you always get a cheaper price. Yes. Because it's competitive, then various vendors have to apply.
Mr. McInerney? No question. Freeholders?
I have a question, and that is the bid price of $24 $2.34. That's per what?
That would be per carton.
Per carton?
Per carton, correct.
And how much paper
10
is-
reams in a carton.
Okay,
5,000
and a ream
sheets.
is
Yes.
500, okay,
Yeah.
got it. And this is, and Paper Mart, is that the Paper Mart that used to be in Morristown?
We actually were founded in 1939. Our first location was on Clinton Street in Newark, New Jersey. In the 50s and 60s, we moved to Boston Street in Newark, New Jersey. And in 1969, we moved to Livingston, New Jersey. And in 1985, we relocated in East Hanover, New Jersey. So, no, we were never in Morristown.
Okay, maybe we can repatriate you to Newark someday.
What was that?
Perhaps we can repatriate you to Newark someday.
Thank you as well.
It's of course all possible, and we're happy to say that we see a lot of revitalization in Newark, and we're selling more and more paper in that area. So it's good for us.
Freeholder, Vice President Richardson.
That brings me, that's a great segue. So my question to you, do you employ anyone from Essex County?
Yes, many employees. We employ 125 employees. I would say perhaps a quarter or maybe even a little more are from Essex County.
Outstanding.
And I was born in Newark, New Jersey at the Beth Israel Hospital.
It makes two of us. You were probably there.
Me too. I grew up and was raised in West Orange, New Jersey.
I bet you were born in a separate wing. You had a certain wing for
I don't know. I know my mom and dad.
It's a fact.
My mom and dad attended Weequahic High School in Newark, New Jersey.
I live near Weequahic now.
What was that?
I live near Weequahic High School now. My wife is a graduate of Weequahic High School.
And I know my mom used to tell me a story. She used to walk by Weequahic Park when she was a youngster, and she used to pick up golf balls and didn't really know what they were. And she would, I guess people would hit stray golf balls, and then they would lose them. So I always wanted to play on that course, but never did. That'll be
Never too late.
I think that's going to be part of one of the things that I want to do.
There you go.
Other additional questions or comments? Question, and I did not have an opportunity to raise this during the leadership meeting, but is there on these bulk contracts and shared contracts that we sometimes do, paper one of the things that is eligible to be purchased in conjunction with other counties? When we do these contracts, we try to save costs by purchasing items like paper.
Julius Coltree, purchasing agent. If you look at this, I think, from my recollection, on a box of paper, if we went to the state contract or to a co-op, it's probably about $3 more per box. So when we look at all of the areas, whether it's a co-op, state contract, looking for the best possible opportunity for the county to save money.
Well, I have no issue with the contract in which you're the best in your business. I do hope that we continue to move to, as you can see right now, a more paperless work environment, at least at the board and county level. So, I think we have some work to do in that regard.
I'm just going to mention a little bit of a commercial. That seems to be a big issue. People are going paperless and they're saving the environment, and paper is harmful for the environment, which is totally untrue. I figure as long as I have the mic, I might as well. Paper is totally a renewable resource. It comes from trees. If you put paper in a landfill, it decomposes back into fibers that were originally in the ground. I would say 50% of paper today is recycled. In other words, people take it and they use it. And the other 50% that isn't recycled, as I said, if it does go into landfills, there's no issue whatsoever. Whereas you might take your computer and put it into a landfill. And I believe that 50 to 60% of toxic waste that's found in landfills come from computers. So I'm not saying we shouldn't use computers. We don't want to go back into the dark ages. But I do say that it's unfair to call paper a product that you're killing trees and you're harming the environment. For example, today, the tree coverage in the United States is 25% greater than it was 20 years ago. So we have more trees here than we had before. Even as a youngster, I remember my dad would come back from the paper mill with these little seedlings, and I said, I would say, what the heck is that? He said, well, the paper mill cuts down a tree. They always plant 2 or 3 trees in its place, because that's where they're going to get their future business. That was back in the 60s, long before the publicity that paper is not good and it's harmful for the environment. So most of our forests are managed by the paper mills as far as which trees can get cut down, which trees can't get cut down. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't get rid of paper, but don't get rid of paper because it's harmful for the environment.
Yeah, thank you. But in my comment was in no way directed towards whether paper was harmful to the environment or not. My comment was more or less directed about the internal workings of our county.
I took no offense, President.
So please.
And also one thing I just wanted to mention, there's a couple of statistics out. For example, when you read off of paper versus your computer, you're reading 25 to 30% quicker and faster. Also, you comprehend more from paper than from the computers. So
That's a man that owns a paper company.
there's a lot of advantages to using paper versus your computer. Also, when you write a letter to someone, which people don't do these days, you have about a 25 to 30% better chance that they're going to read that letter versus the email that you send them. There's a lot of advantages with paper that's not known to the
Yeah, no, I think those are all fair comments. And again, just to reiterate for the record, these were more about amounts, and not because those amounts are necessarily harmful to the environment, but because of short-term use versus long-term use and how we have information flow, which we're going to bring you back so you can give a full seminar. But I think we're on board. So,
Thank you very
so
much.
thank you.
Mr. President, if
Sure.
I may, I'd like to give a little talk about paper as well,
Sure.
but no. The issue is, I just want you to know that tomorrow we should have our first completely paper-free personnel committee meeting. So to the process that you're talking about, kind of moving our processes to the 21st century, sort of a landmark day for us. It'll be our first time where it's completely without paper.
That's great to hear, and and at the risk of paper's great. If you have any opening, you got me. I'm ready to join the sales force. But in all seriousness, I think that those are the kind of issues I'm talking about. So we're talking about storage. We're talking about storage of records. We're talking about the flow of information. We're talking about information, Madam Clerk, sometimes where we even have things that are printed for us that have already, again, no criticism of staff, but catching up in dates of past where we have a lot of material and anything we can do to become more efficient, I think we support. That being said, do I have any additional questions and comments on this resolution? Do I have a mover and a second?
Move it.
Moved by Vice President Richardson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Bauer.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent Freeholder Flores.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Hill.
Yes. Thank you. Madam Clerk, we're going to move to resolution number 12 and number 13, which both go together.
Resolution 12, 2018, County Budget in search of items of revenue from the State of New Jersey Division of Family Development for Intensive Care Management Program, Division of Community Action, $40,964. Resolution 13, Department of Citizen Services Division of Community Action Contract Amendment, Salvation Army, Montclair for Intensive Case Management Program Services, July 1st, 2017 through December 31st, 2017, adding amount not to exceed $40,964.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, we received additional funding from the state of New Jersey for increased intensive case management programs. Item number 12 is the insertion of that amount of $40,964. And item 13 is the award to the Montclair Salvation Army for that service.
Mr. Parlavecchio?
No questions.
Mr. McInerney? Freeholders? Questions or comments? Freeholder Jones? You'll move it? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Freeholder Pomeroy. Roll call, Madam Clerk. That's on resolution number 12 and 13. Insertion of item of revenue from the State of New Jersey Division of Family Development for Intensive Case Management Program, and resolution 13, 12 and 13 together.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomeroy.
Yes.
Freeholder McCardle, absent Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Moving to resolution number 14.
Resolution 14, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment, Division of Training and Employment, contract extension award to Meadowlands Transportation Brokerage Corp., also known as MeadowLink, to provide transportation services for Essex County Wave Transportation Program, January 1st, 2018 through June 30th, 2018, amount not to exceed $380,000.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Mr. President, Mr. Mumford is here to answer your questions.
Mumford, good evening.
The Essex County Division of Training and Employment has been operating the WAVE for the last 15 years. And tonight I have with me the Director of Special Transportation and Transportation Services for the division in the county, Mike Vieira, and the vendor, CEO from the vendor, to discuss the program. So I'm going to bring Mike up, and up behind him you can speak to the vendor, which is from MeadowLink.
Thank you, Mr. Freeholder. President, my name is Michael Vieira. I'm the Director of Special Transportation Services. As Mr. Mumford had said, we have run the WAVE for about 15 years. The WAVE is comprises of 4 transportation shuttles, and these shuttles start at the one-stop center in East Orange, and they transport around the county to contractors who actually help our clients better their lives through trainings or going down to the Division of Welfare to get paperwork done and all of that. With me today I have Krishnamurthy. He's the Executive Director of MeadowLink. MeadowLink is the contractor for the WAVE services.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Krishnamurthy. I'm the Executive Director of Easy Ride, which is a non-profit organization that provides transportation services. And we appreciate the opportunity to provide shuttle services for Essex County residents. Thank you.
No question. No question. Freeholders? Freeholder Tamara?
I just want to commend you for the program. This guy here was the beneficiary of welfare program. When my mother came from Cuba, because of the government, I didn't really support the kind of things that we value and take for granted in the past. And so, for her to be able to, she didn't have transportation available. So I remember a good number of challenges that she faced when I was a kid for services that, to reach the services you take people. So I like to underscore the significance and the importance of something like this to help people get on their feet. So that someone like my mother can put 3 kids through school and make something out of herself in this country when she had time. So I just thank those for today and
Freeholder.
Thank you. I would just add that Julius Mumford and Michael Vieira, we have an excellent transportation system here in Essex County, providing services to so many people to travel from one point to go reach their place of work. So it works really well here in Essex. I'll move it.
I would just like to echo Freeholder Siebold's and Freeholder Pomaris's comments. I've known Mr. Murphy for a long time. It's been a very long time since we discussed Meadowlink when I was the director of the Tri-State Transportation Campaign, trying to expand services like this throughout New Jersey. And I know Michael Vieira also does a fantastic job, and I want to thank both of you again. So thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Vieira.
Agree on all. Any additional questions or comments? We have moved by Freeholder Siebold. Do I have a second?
Second.
I think I got Freeholder Pomaris before.
We're on the same page.
Okay. Okay. Second by Freeholder Pomaris. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent. Freeholder Pomaris.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebold.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can we please read Resolution 15?
Resolution 15, Department of Economic Development, Training and Employment, Division of Training and Employment, authorization to enter into an individual on-the-job training and transitional job agreements with state registered employers with the state work-based learning grant January 1st, 2018 through December 31st, 2018, amount not to exceed $1 million grant funding.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Ms. Jackson.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. Julius Montford, Deputy Director, Essex County Division of Training and Employment. In 2014, President Obama signed the Workforce Innovative Opportunity Act. And under that act, one of the things that they talked about was on-the-job training and transitional work to jumpstart individuals going back to work and getting some training. So what we're doing here is OJT is we're going to be going out to employers and we're going to let employers know that we're going to give you $6,000 maximum for 6 months, a portion of an individual's salary that you hire to work for you, so that you can get to know them, get to learn them, they'll get to learn your company, and after that, you will hire them permanently. Transitional jobs is we're really working with our youth. So you know, a lot of our out-of-school youth between the ages 16 and 24, they either dropped out of school, come from low-income backgrounds. They really have no work experience. So the pilot program will be done right at the One Stop, where we will take youth who are in our program, allow them to work in different divisions within the building and different units in the building so they can gain experience and increase their resume. Then we can send them out to job development and have absolutely get them employed from there. So that's what those two programs are. The reason why it's $1 million, just to let you know, WIOA funds are a 2-year life. So the funding that we got in 2016 will sunset June of 2018. The funding we got in 2017 will sunset in June of 2020. And the funds that we get this year will sunset 2 years after that. So rather than us have to keep going back and forth, coming back to continue our program, we know that is something that we're going to be doing. And we want to be able to continue it just like we do with our ITA programs, which we do currently with our workforce development WIOA clients, which is Title II, which is general clients who come off the street, and then Title III are individuals who were laid off from their jobs. Any questions?
Freeholders?
Move it.
Mumford, the OJT, in your opinion, are there contracts that come through the county, present day, where folks with this coming through the training program with the OJT that could benefit from? There are many contracts that come before the Freeholder Board. And lots of times we ask vendors, do they employ anyone from Essex County? And a lot of them do not. So what I'm thinking here, we should be able to use this program to get these vendors who get these large contracts to start hiring, because you have an incentive in terms of the employment and some of the money that can offset the hiring. We should look at that, how we connect these folks to these jobs and to this contract. Also, the other piece, well, you can answer that, and then I'll go into the next.
Well, Freeholder Richardson, that is a great idea. That is the intention of this program. Whether you're a profit or for-profit agency, if you're interested, we have a young man by the name of Manzi Okiri, who he will take that information, he will go out, he will meet with that employer, discuss to them what the program is, explain the contract to them, and we will begin to establish that contract. Mr. Okiri is also a liaison to Sam O'Paraki, who's your new small business and development rep for the county. So we are working closely with that office, and we're working closely with all the chambers of commerce, from Latino to different chambers of commerce and employers. So your idea is great. As long as they're an employer, if they're interested, we will email you all the information, who our contact person is, who our contract person is, and we will begin to write a contract.
So there's one entity.
Once we get approved tonight.
Okay, there's one entity that you didn't mention, and that's the administration. You know, you have the administrator sitting there, other folks sitting at that table, and these contracts come through them. We have these leadership meetings. I think somewhere in procurement, maybe we can inject some language. So I think that's something we need to start looking at. You also have other programs where Essex County residents that come through the WIOA program or whatever the program is, they go through these training programs, right, that are affiliated with stuff that you do. We need to start developing some language that implores folks who are getting these contracts from Essex County to start hiring those folks that come through, that you send out to training. We spend a lot of money on training, sending them to state training programs. You got the OJT programs, but I think there's a big disconnect, correct me if I'm wrong, that none of them are actually working on any of these contracts that come through the county that we see all the time. I don't know if we have that connection.
Mr. Vice President, as you're talking with Carmen, I think that one thing we can do is certainly give the aspirational goal sheet that everybody now fills out in terms of the employment of Essex County residents. We can give that to Mr. Montford's division, so that they know that here's an entity that has goals and wants to do it, and then that can be a source of a contact.
So you said these are entities that want to do it?
Yes, they're filling out, the entities that come before us are filling out an aspirational goal, saying that they're willing to and looking to expand their pool of Essex County employees. So if we give that sheet to Mr. Montford going forward, they can be a source of contact with them, you know, as a start. The other things we can do, but that's certainly one thing we can put them in contact with.
Sounds good. So this aspirational goal sheet that folks are filling out, so I'd like to get some information in terms of who's filling it out, how many folks from Essex County that they've hired, what has the expansion actually been?
It should be on your, through you, Mr. President, it should be on the packet that you received, Mr. Vice President. It should be attached to that for each of these contracts. That actual sheet should be If it's not, but it should be attached to every one.
Okay, outstanding. So yeah.
Mr. Chair, just to give you some a little background so we're not belabored. Once we get that information from the county administrator, what we will do, we will contact the employer, and we would then at that point set up a positive recruitment. The employer will let us know what position he's looking for, what the qualifications are, and we will set up a positive recruitment at 50 South Clinton for Essex County residents. We will call them in. Normally, we have the employer do on-the-spot interviews, and they will begin to hire Essex County residents from there. So that's how the connection will work. Other than that, that's one of the ways. The other ways is us getting the list and contacting them directly. And of course, May 24th, 2018 is our annual job fair that's coming up at Essex County College, beginning at 10 a.m. on May 24th.
So just another opportunity. I wear another hat. I'm the president of a labor union, and we are looking for skilled tradesmen. So if you have some folks who are coming to you who are looking for construction jobs, carpenters, painters, all those kinds of things, to do renovation on homes and that kinds of things, send them my way.
Absolutely. We work very well with your union already.
To Mr. Jackson, I don't know whether it's a lay person. When we go out to bid for many procurement of different jobs or that comes before us, is this a possibility or is it legal that would be one of the stipulation that is put into the bidding or procurement process that they are willing to bring interns or people from your program to work for X amount, you know, from Essex County? I don't know if I'm saying it right, but
I would actually defer, maybe perhaps even to county council, but no, generally speaking, we can't make employers hire different categories, but again, we are asking them, as a follow-up to Freeholder Richardson's point, we are asking them to fill out the aspirational goal sheet and, you know, making it clear that we appreciate the fact that they are making an extra effort to hire Essex County employees, but we're not allowed to force them to hire.
But I don't mean in terms of forcing, but I'm thinking in a different, well, in a different way. It's not what you say, it's how I said. It's not that you're forcing, but can say it in the way we would appreciate, I don't know, that if you would, since we are Essex County or have given you this whatever process or whatever, that you would, if it's possible that you could take a few of our unemployed persons in this particular program to work, you know, to get some type of work experience. I don't know how to phrase it. That's what come from the legal department, as to make sure it's nothing done illegally, but maybe that too could help.
We can certainly, through you, Mr. President, we certainly can encourage that, but we can't use it as a criteria for evaluation of the bid or their. So, but I understand your point, and we actually are trying to do that again.
Okay.
And also through, and we say that,
yeah,
in there.
Yeah.
And I think through the comments that all the vendors get when they come here, the board ask them, you know, how many do you have? It sends the message that we're very concerned and very serious about having Essex County employees being used by our vendors.
But you see what happens when we get to the vendors, when they come here, they've already procured the contract. What I'm saying is in the process of sending out requisition, or however you do that in terms of getting, words won't come to me, that particular business, that, like, for example, the paper one had $500,000, half $500,000 contract. If somewhere in the specs that you can say that we have a special program that works in Essex County trying to give unemployed residents an opportunity to increase their resume in terms of job hunt, would you be willing to participate in this particular program? To that effect, that maybe they'll take 2 or 3 people and train them in that particular area from the program. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you.
Just a quick follow-up on Freeholder Jones's comments. I think probably what she's talking about in the RFP itself, Maybe you can put something in there that stipulates that, or maybe there's a point system, there's a grading system that's done when the bid comes in, right? You grade the bid, so maybe there's a way to give extra points to folks, added incentive to folks who are going to work with the program. You know, we make the rules for the grading system.
Julius Coultry, purchasing agent. No, they're set by the state. It's usually technology, managerial, and usually price is the least graded point value. But we may have to look at possibly posting something on our portal to say we have this program and we encourage you to do this. We really can't mandate that they follow a specific program. Just like if you look at the aspirational goals that we're sending out, every contract that we send out right now has that form in it. It is not mandated that they fill it out, but we get
it's pretty much a good faith effort. And what we know about good faith efforts, that they're good faith failures. They don't work. And there are many municipalities, and there are some counties around the country who do mandate certain things. You have municipalities that mandate, they have first source hiring. So if they have any skin in the game, if they're putting any money in, they can mandate that those things go in. And I had that language before, I'm going to get it again. We need to rethink this. Thank you. And I'd like to move this.
Thank you, Vice President Richardson.
I'll
Before we move
second
to move in a second, are there any additional questions or comments? Moved by Vice President Richardson. Do I have a second? Second, Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution number 16.
Thank you.
Resolution 16, the Office of Sheriff contract award to Atlantic Tactical Incorporated to provide ammunition and accessories for the Essex County Sheriff's Office under state contract number 1 NJCP 81319, amount not to exceed $3,465.
Jackson.
Mr. President, this is a contract to provide for 9mm weapons and the ammunition that go along with it for the purposes of training and qualification under a state contract, and the vendor does apply with your resolution which defines the responsibility in providing ammunition and weapons.
No questions.
Freeholders. Mover in second. Moved by Freeholder Pomares. Second.
I'll second it.
Second by Freeholder Jones. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Madam Clerk, resolutions number 17 through 35, thank you. 17 through 35, which are all commendations. For a second, moved by Freeholder Siebel. To a second by Freeholder Pomares. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Sure, absolutely, Freeholder Siebel.
Like to be added to number 21.
21. Absolutely. No problem.
Mr. President? I would like to do that as well, and given Mr. Schechner's standing, perhaps that could be by acclamation.
I would have no objection.
Uh, 18, I would like to be added onto that proclamation.
Absolutely. 18. I think we have a mover in a second. Okay. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Ramirez.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent. Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill. So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 36.
Resolution number 36, 2018, on the insertion of items of revenue from the state of New Jersey Department of Health for Special Child Health Services Case Management Division of Community Health Services, $289,941.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes, Mr. President, we received funds in the amount, as a matter of case management funds for July 1, 2018 through June 30, 2019. A very important program that provides support for families with children from birth to age 21, special needs or disabilities, and provides them with partnerships in the community and private, provide support for their children. Again, an amount of $289,000.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Mr. Parlavecchio.
No comments.
Mr. McInerney. Freeholders. Questions or comments? Moved by Freeholder Jones. Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent. Freeholder Ramirez.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel.
Yes.
Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to resolution number 37.
Resolution 37, Department of Citizen Services, Division of Senior Services, approval of 2018 Senior Services Area Plan.
Mr. Jackson.
President, the state of New Jersey, through the Human Services Department, provided $4,922,310 to us previously, which is inserted in the budget, with the county match of $154,448. And we're now required to accept the Senior Services Area Plan, copies of which have been given to the board to review with the agencies participating and amounts so associated with them. And this is required by the state for this plan to be approved by resolution.
Parlavecchio. Mr. McInerney. Mover in a second. Moved by Freeholder Pomaris. Have a second? Second by Freeholder Johnson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Freeholder Bauer.
Yes.
Freeholder Johnson.
Yes.
Freeholder Jones.
Yes.
Freeholder Luciano.
Yes.
Freeholder Mercado, absent. Freeholder Pomares.
Yes.
Freeholder Vice President Richardson.
Yes.
Freeholder Siebel. Yes. Freeholder President Gill.
Yes.
So moved.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Moving to board committees. Freeholders, do we have any reports of board committees? Legislative reports. Written communications. Are there any written communications? Seeing none, Madam Clerk. Unfinished business. Freeholders, do we have any unfinished business? New business? Do we have any new business to discuss? Public comment again. Madam Clerk, if there's any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter, please come to the microphone and state your name, address, and affiliation for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Davis, and I am a resident of West Orange, and I've been a lifelong resident of Essex County in New Jersey. I also happen to be a community activist, a member of the People's Organization for Progress, and other organizations. I want to first of all commend this Board of Freeholders for taking a very bold stance about the issues of foreclosures. As many people know, Essex County has one of the highest rates of foreclosures in the country, and it is devastating. It is devastating to the people, and the people are hurting. And I understand that you unanimously passed a resolution calling for a 2-year moratorium in order for the wrongful practices that the banks have been engaging in to be corrected and to help the people. And I also understand that Joe DiVincenzo, the Essex County executive, that he also signed off on the proclamation, put his seal on it. And now my only question to you is, when does the moratorium start? When does it begin? I mean, what other processes have to happen? And I just urge you to really move with urgency with this, because seconds matter. I know of somebody now who has to move, being foreclosed upon. I know of several people. I know even the challenges that I had to face and was battling. So it's really serious, and the people need relief. They really do need relief, and these practices need to stop. And since basically Essex County has approved, the resolutions and the proclamations, so what else has to happen to expedite this, and what can we do to help to make sure that it happens? Thank you.
Any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter, please come to the microphone and state your name and affiliation for the record. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Sure.
Moore, the South Ward of Newark, the Clinton Hill community, specifically of the South Ward, which is off of Clinton Avenue. We too have the highest foreclosure rate in the country, in the Clinton Hill community. And so I thank you again for your sensitivity and for your leadership to assure that this matter gets addressed and addressed effectively, and we lead the way in our country. I'm here to also bring to your attention a couple of matters. Recently, just as of in the last 24 hours, there's an absent seat now in our Port Authority, and we would like very much for the leadership of this body to request of our governor to ensure that that seat is filled. Resident of Essex, we need representation on the Port Authority Board, and we're asking you all to exercise your authority to assure that that representation is there for Essex County. So we thank you for that. The port and the airport reside in our county, and we need to be assured that we have ample representation. So that's that request. Now, on a personal note, I had sent a letter to county executive as well as to Vice President Richardson regarding a request from my mother. My mother was a tennis coach at Weequahic High School. She was also the recreational director with Joe Clark and Bill Shipley back in the 70s and 80s, and she ran the summer recreational program. My mother passed away in the early 80s, but she was instrumental as a tennis leader. Because the county is resurfacing the tennis courts at Weequahic Park, I have requested the county executive and this county leadership body to recognize my mother's contribution. She was not just a tennis coach, not just a recreational leader for Essex County, but she was also American Tennis Association champion. I met Althea Gibson through my mother one day coming home from school. The house was quiet, walked in, and Arthur Ashe was sitting on our couch in the den.
My mother had great influence. She was a mentor and a leader. She guided many students who now have very significant leadership roles in our country and in different parts of our world. And if she wasn't my mother, I would ask that we would recognize this great African-American woman, teacher, mother, leader, as well as tennis player extraordinaire. And so I have sent that to you, Vice President, Vice Chair, to consider that and share that with your colleagues and ask for that consideration. Thank you again for your leadership. Please call our governor and ask for leadership at Port Authority. Thank you again. God bless.
For the record, we will make sure to respond to all the individuals who spoke in the public comment period in writing as we move forward. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on any matter? Please come to the microphone, state your name and address and affiliation for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Madam Clerk, let the record indicate that there's no one wishing to speak at this time. I'll move to freeholder comments. Freeholders, do you have any comments you would like to make? Vice President Richardson.
Yeah, through you, Mr. President, I just want to put together the Labor Committee on Workforce Development so we can start talking about this language where we can get some more Essex County residents working on these projects and on some of these contracts that come through this county. There's language out there that we can incorporate, Essex County can use to ensure that folks in Essex, more folks in Essex County go to work on some of these projects. There are millions and millions and millions of dollars that flow through here, and I think we need to do a better job of ensuring that folks who live in this county, who are taxpayers in this county, get some of that work. So I just want to do it, probably schedule it sometime after this May 8th election, sometime in mid-May.
Absolutely. Vice President, the clerk will follow up and we will get that meeting scheduled as fast as possible.
Thank you. In closing, I would like to wish Medina Mohammed the best of success in her new job. I'm sure she's going to enjoy it and do a wonderful job. But we'll miss you right here at the Freeholder Board.
I too would like to congratulate you, Adina, for your new opportunity to move places. When I first met you, I realized that you were going someplace from county to state, and hopefully you'll go to the White House. So just keep it up because you have the ability, and I'm rooting for you, and Essex County is rooting for you, so you will do well. Congratulations and keep it up.
Freeholders, any additional comments? Just wanted to also just recognize he was in our packet tonight, but our budget counsel, Ms. McInerney, was recognized at an event over the weekend. I think it was the board was happy to be able to put that proclamation and resolution recognition that you received, well deserved. So. And best of luck to you in the future. You know, as we said, and I said it before when you were recognized, but both your performance here and your job and balancing school at the same time, what you were able to accomplish, is quite impressive, and we know we're going to see big things from you in the future. So, best of luck. Any additional questions, comments, freeholders? Do I have a motion to adjourn?